Yeah. Bracket Sunday is over. It's Monday. It's time for a new week. I got my brackets right in front of me. I don't know who I'm going to pick yet. But I'll figure it out before the NCAA tournament officially begins. And oh, by the way, I don't know if anybody heard the news, but some dude, TB12, I think his last name is Brady, has decided he ain't retiring. Evidently, he talked to Louis Riddick and Dan Orlovsky and said, damn it, I ain't ready to join the booth. I ain't ready to come on TV and do that kind of work. I still want to play football. I would ask y'all what y'all think about that, but I do got a beef with Tom Brady. I actually don't appreciate him interrupting my NBA flow. But it is Tom Brady, just like this Louis and Orlovsky. First takes in the house. You see the boys. Let's go.
It's a battle that's never been won. But one opponent ignores the odds and continues to be Father Time's toughest test.
To be at this age,
Brady has come back with a vengeance.
physically, are you still able to execute your job?
Perfect throw from Brady.
I'm very fortunate to still be able to do that.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us, suited and booted. Look at this dapper crew. Dan Orlovsky, saw you warming things up on Get Up. Louis Riddick, nice to see you, sir. The three-piece. Stephen A., always great to have you back.
Good to see you. You know, it's interesting. You know, we all here suited down and chilling and everything like that. And Dan Orlovsky, you know, fresh off vacation with the tan working and all of that other stuff. He decided he wanted to be Mr. Chippendales this morning instead of Louis Riddick. But I'll leave that to Louis Riddick to handle. I'll lay it.
First of all, I'm not fresh off vacation, Stephen A. I'm not fresh off vacation.
Yeah, it is.
Second of all, I got to go from like 7 in the morning to 7 in the night today. You know, I haven't, I can't have that light schedule that you're on. So I gotta go all day. So.
Okay, all right, no problem. I haven't had a day off in the last really, you know, I don't know. It's been a while.
You're the hardest working man in the business, Stephen A. We know that. We know that.
Tell Dan, Louis.
No, y'all. You know who's the hardest working man? Oh, go ahead, Louis.
No, I was also going to say you're also the highest paid, so don't cry now.
Talk to him.
I mean? Don't cry.
Last time I checked, you ain't broke.
Hey, look, man. I'm able to eat the prime meats just like you, just not as many of them. That's all.
All right.
All right. You know who's also hardworking? That would be Tom Brady. Just a 40-day retirement. Brady is back. This isn't a joke. I thought it was at first last night. I'm like, is it April Fool's yet? He retired February 1st, unretired Sunday. Tom Brady posting this. These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come. But it's not now. I love my teammates. I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back from my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business. Let's bleepin' go. Brady making good on his word of playing until 45. Jason Light elated. The Bucs GM releasing this statement in part saying, we're thrilled to have Tom back this season. We said we would leave all options open for him should he reconsider retirement. And today's announcement is something we have been preparing for in recent days. Bruce and I have had plenty of conversations with Tom recently that led us to believe there was a realistic chance he would want to come back. Okay, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Are you surprised he unretired?
A little bit. But the only reason I'm surprised is because of the wife. I mean, the reality is that since 2016, 2017, when she gave that interview, she was revealing, you know, that this is the man that comes home with concussions. Obviously, he had never been listed as having concussions at the time or what have you. She was basically giving us insight and putting the world on notice. Listen, y'all ain't the ones that got to live with him when his playing career is over. That would be me. And so when you looked at it from that perspective, considering who she is, what she means to him and his family, the fact that the wife was pushing for him to ultimately end his career is something that I took into consideration. My attitude was, you know what, he was going to sit up there and hesitate, but to the extreme until he finally said goodbye. And once he said goodbye, there was no coming back because obviously he was taking her into consideration. But in the end, she is the one that has to live with them. And just like he has to live with her, she has to live with him. And she probably saw that itch that was still there. Her love and support come shining through. She gave him the okay, and he ultimately changed his mind. That's where I'm at with this. That's my thinking. Obviously, I have no inside information whatsoever in regards to that. I'm not in their marriage, but that's what I surmise took place, because I never saw anything in Tom Brady's play, fellas, that said he was finished. 43 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions, throwing for over 5,300 yards last season, getting them to the divisional playoff game, coming back from a 27-3 deficit against the ultimate Super Bowl champion, Los Angeles Rams. He is far from finished. To me, he made the decision to walk away because of his family, and I think he came back because his family said, we know how miserable you are just sitting at home watching these games when you can still play at this level. We love you. Go back and play. That's what I surmise has transpired, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I think we all know that the older we get and the more people that we have to answer to, the more that, we don't make decisions in a vacuum anymore. We know that. Even if we want to do certain things for ourselves, we just don't make decisions that way because that's just not the way life works. And I think even with Tom, look, he was trying to say, hey, look, I know that my family wants me around a little bit more. Everyone knows how I do it. Everyone knows in order to play at the level that I play at, you have to be all in a way that is uncommon, man. Look, many people think that they work hard at their jobs, but they're really not necessarily. I don't know if they necessarily are working to the degree that the people who are the very best, the transcendent individuals, the truly transcendent individuals are working in order to put out that kind of performance which they put out. And I think Tom is one of those types of guys. And I think he still knew that he had it in him to be able to make that kind of commitment because he knew he was still able to play at that kind of level, that would be the end result. But when you have a family that sees you leave the house when it's dark, come home when it's dark, miss all kinds of different things that are going on in their personal lives that they would like you to be a part of, and you wind up looking back year after year after year going, hey, when did that happen? When did that event happen? When did that event happen? When you're looking at pictures and they're going, you weren't here. You were off training. You were off on the road. You were off winning championships, whatever it is. That starts to work on you. And you start to think, hey, maybe I need to go ahead and start making some decisions for other people instead of just myself. But if they give you the blessing and they know that you can still perform on a high level and they know that your life's work has been what it has been, especially in the case of a guy like Tom Brady, and they go ahead and give you their blessing to go ahead and continue to pursue it, you're out the gate, man. You're doing it once again. And that's what he's doing right now. And look, we're all the better for it. We're all going to benefit from it. But Tom's a man. Tom's a human being. Tom's a family man, just like all of us on this screen are. And you know that he was making decisions that weren't just necessarily for him. And you got to commend him for that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he changed his mind. I did not think he would. I thought he would stay retired. I'm not shocked, though, because nothing in the NFL shocks me. I think the reality is this, and Stephen A., you kind of mentioned it, given what this team was last year, who was one of the oldest in the NFL, and they were one of the most beat up. 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, they were the healthiest team in the NFL. Last year, they were one of the most beat up teams in the NFL. Even with all that, and Stephen A., again, you talked about it. They lost on the last play of the game to the team that eventually won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles Rams. And I think that, because of all those injuries, when Tom makes the statement of unfinished business, my mind goes like, what do you mean unfinished business, guy? Like, you got 7 Super Bowls. You're the greatest player ever. But the unfinished business is when this team was constructed this time last year and brought 22 starters back, it was, man, this is the team to beat. They could go undefeated. They're going to go back-to-back. And we really did not get to see that football team last year because all those guys were missed for such extended periods of time. And I think that's the unfinished business with Tom was that team that he played with last year, that wasn't the team that he thought he was a part of because of all those injuries. And I think he's got conversations that he's had with Jason Light, and Lewis could speak significantly greater to this than I can, of, hey, if I come back, what does this football team look like? Because they got a ton of free agents, Molly. I mean, they got a
I've got a list
right
here, 10 notable guys, stars that they're trying to get done. Obviously, the Jensen deal happened last night. But, Dan, to your point with the roster construction, and Lewis, I'll let you get in here on this because obviously you know much more than I do. From what I understand, he's only going to cost them $20 million.
Yeah, that being Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look, there's still some significant players still, even with that being said, that they still need to re-sign. And again, you also have to understand, I mean, we all understand that this is one of the older rosters in the NFL. And even if you bring back the majority of the guys on some below market deals and you're able to quote unquote run it back, you just don't know what their projected future performance is going to look like because they're all in that gray area. They're all in that twilight zone as far as their career is concerned where you don't know what you're going to get from year to year. So although he likes to, as he likes to say, there's unfinished business. Yeah, there's unfinished business as far as what they want to get done as a team. There's obviously unfinished business as to what Jason Licht can actually get done. And then you just don't know what that business is going to look like that they're going to put on the field, because you don't know what many of these guys are going to look like. Because look, I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul is not the same player. Look, from year to year, you just can't project that he's going to be the same player. William Golston, you can't project he would be the same player. Look, Carlton Davis, you could. Jordan Whitehead, you could, because these are younger players that really are right now in the primes of their careers. But you just don't know. I mean, and hey, look, I don't know how many guys are going to be willing to take a Ryan Jensen type of deal. Although he's getting paid a lot of money, their center. He could have stood to like absolutely clean up in the open market.
Okay.
He could have cleaned up. So Tom's thinking, look, I love this team. We won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. I know what these players have in them, but there is a little bit of unknown here. There is a little bit of unknown as far as what can Jason actually do and how are these guys going to play.
Let me say this. You're not wrong. I just think you're overreacting, Louis Riddick, and I think that you need to calm down with your emotion. I just think you need to calm down a little bit. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
First of all, if anybody knows they're suspect in certain ways, it's Tom Brady. You got the receivers, a situation to deal with. You got the offensive line. You definitely got to deal with that. You definitely got to wonder whether or not Gronk's going to come back. And Gronk, even if he does come back, is capable of giving you something here or there in big moments. But in terms of durability, I'm not talking about just being on the field. I'm talking about in terms of a guy that you can rely upon week after week after week. No, in big moments, you can go to Gronk. For the most part, in terms of that heavy workload, that's somebody else that you're going to have to go to. So there's some question marks about it. I think we know Tom Brady well enough to know that Tom Brady knows all of that, and he took that into consideration. Let's also take into consideration, guys, what we've been talking about the last few weeks. Once we had concluded that Tom Brady had retired, we had assumed he wasn't coming back. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers. What were we saying? We looked at the Dallas Cowboys. We looked at the Green Bay Packers. We looked at the Los Angeles Rams. But the powers that be were in the AFC. You even had some people, not us, but you had some people talking about, is it even wise for Aaron Rodgers to go to the AFC because you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert, you got Derek Carr, you got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen. Why would you go? So what I'm saying is now take that same conversation and revert it back to Tom Brady. Well, look at how powerful the AFC may be. How you got just a whole bunch of dudes in a bowl, like crabs in a basket, trying to get their way out of the AFC. If you're Tom Brady, we've got Green Bay to think about, really. Of course, you got to respect the Los Angeles Rams. All right, the Dallas Cowboys are in flux. Amari Cooper's now in Cleveland. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Really, the New Orleans Saints, because they seem to have his number in the regular season, even when they don't have a damn quarterback. It's just so much stuff that's not going on in the NFC that is going on in the AFC. The path to prosperity seems a little bit easier for Tom Brady in the NFC. We got to take that into consideration, too.
Absolutely. Sure. And Dan, to your point of unfinished business and not being healthy, they almost beat the Rams. The Rams won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they had to have the heroic throw from Stafford to Cup for sure.
Yeah, so, the Rams won the Super Bowl.
There you go with the pom-poms. Go ahead. No, there he goes.
No, but at the end of the day, they weren't healthy. They almost beat the Rams.
What's it like to not have anything to cheer about, Stephen A? Like, what's it like to not have anything to be happy about when it comes to your sports fandom?
Hold on, tell me. I have no idea, because I got news for you, my brother. I'm just as happy as you are in life. I just don't have to convey that when I'm talking about a football player. That's all. I ain't got to wear the pom-poms. That's all I'm saying. My life is quite nice.
Listen, I think it's important to point out, though, too, because while that team last year did lose on the last play of the game, they don't have starting guards right now. This football team does not have a starting guard, right or left. Ali Marpet retired, and then Alex Kappa has the chance to get really well paid. They don't have starting tight ends, and they don't have starting tailbacks. And Lewis knows this, and Stephen A knows this for sure, too. Molly, you as well. Like, you can anticipate as a player getting X amount of dollars in free agency, and then as noon today hits and tampering period is legal, that amount of dollar might be $15 million and you more than you expected. And then all of a sudden, you may have anticipated, I'll come back to Tampa Bay, but then you're going, I can't pass up this money. So while I'm excited and this is huge, we don't know. I mean, this team has a lot of holes.
Hold on 1 second, though, Lewis, before you jump in. I got to pause you on that, though, Dan, because don't you think Tom Brady had these conversations?
Yes.
He literally retired, and I think he legitimately retired. There's no way he's coming back if he doesn't know that he's going to have guys protecting him and some tight ends out there and those 3 running backs, at least a few of them back.
Totally, but you don't know as a player. You have an idea, but until free agency comes and teams' boards get picked off, and again, Lewis could speak to this much greater, then your value might go up, and you might say, well, I was going to go back to Tampa Bay until somebody, Leonard Fournette would go, I was going to go back to Tampa Bay until somebody gave me $10 million a year.
Yeah, look, I will never discount Tom's ability to draw people in and make them want to play with him, especially if this is ultimately his swan song this year. And ultimately, many people on that football team feel as though, look, we do have some unfinished business, and maybe we can win a Super Bowl this year. But remember, last year was a down year salary cap-wise where many people took below-market contracts, short-term contracts, because they wanted a crack at it in 2022 when the salary cap would explode again and go back up, and then teams would be flush with cash and cap space, hypothetically. And there's going to be teams that are. And there's going to be teams that are willing to go ahead and pay above market. Because, look, we are in a time period now in the NFL where there are no more 3, 4, 5-year plans. Everybody seems to be working on a year-to-year basis. Yeah. Everybody is like, hey, what can I do to win this year? The hell with next year and 2 years down the road. How can we compete this year? Because, look, the Rams are doing it. They're winning games. Tom's coming back for one more year because he wants to run it back. Aaron Rodgers is coming back. Look, teams are not necessarily, and I'm not saying I necessarily agree with this, but this is very much so a year-to-year type of league, man. And teams are going to throw money at some of these free agents in hopes that they can strike it big and kind of like foster the right kind of chemistry and the right kind of cohesion within their roster, the same way that the Rams did this year with some very targeted free agent acquisitions and trades. And some of these guys are going to say, Tom, I love you, man. But you know what? Yeah. My career is short, too. Yeah. I don't know how long. I can't play 22 years like you. So I don't know if I can come back. So we'll see.
He took all of that into consideration. I think we all know that before he made this decision. But at the end of the day, it's breaking news in another way as well. Usually the saying goes, happy wife, happy life. Today is happy husband, happy life. The wife said, I need that brother happy. Go back and play. Yeah. That's breaking news in and of itself. Just my humble opinion.
Well, I'll tell you this. Look, Tom's one of the greats ever. I mean, we all know that. And you know in order for him to come back and play, given all the responsibilities and all the things that he has sitting out there waiting for him the day he actually really does retire, for him to come back, he had to have the blessing of his entire support group. And my hat's off to all of them because with a guy like this, when he's in, he's in. I mean, it's deep cover, man. It's deep cover.
See, I like doing dishes and laundry. So, like, being home for me is cool. I like doing dishes.
You would say that. You would say that. This from the guy that has his wife and coach. I mean, it's unbelievable. it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This
from
this
40
guy
years
of all
old?
people.
Can I hit 40 years old before I start flying me or my wife?
You fly, coach. The wife needs to be in first class, you cheapskate. I mean, I thought I taught you some things. I mean, my God.
So
how
on the
cheap
same
can
flight,
you be?
On the same flight, I have to sit and coach, and then my wife sits in first class?
I'm just saying she the priority. She the priority. You don't have her, coach. You put her in first class. She's earned that.
What did I miss here? What did I miss about the first class coach thing?
Oh, you missed it over the last few weeks, man. This dude come on first take. He's sitting there traveling and got his wife and coach sitting there cutting corners just to save a few pennies in his pocket. And then comes on national TV and brag that he was cheap, Lewis. He bragged about it.
Before we move on, I'll tell the real story of what happened, Lewis, so you have the details. Dan went to the Super Bowl, obviously. It's his boy Matthew Stafford covering the Super Bowl. He took his wife. They stayed for the game. He took the red eye back to be here for work in the morning. And he was all upset because he couldn't watch the replay of the game. And Stephen A saying, well, why? You should have had the beds. Obviously you're in first class, et cetera. You got the TV. He's like, oh, no. I was sitting middle with my wife and coach. And Stephen A was like, come on. In this circumstance, pay the extra cashish. And in that circumstance, Dan, I do agree with Stephen A there.
Of course
Money saved, Molly. Money saved.
You sat middle, and he sat middle seat?
Middle.
Yes.
Middle seat?
Aren't you like 6'5"? It's unacceptable. Not even extra leg room. It's absolutely unacceptable. But yeah.
What are you, 6'4"? 6'5"?
Yeah, he's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, sometimes.
Yes.
Yo, man,
I'm
you
not even
want
thinking
money
about
from me.
him.
I got to get the 40. You got to earn
I'm not
that.
even thinking about him. What about the wife? What
My
kind
wife
of
is
man are
5'2".
you? What kind of man are you?
Now
You
coming
put
at
her
my
in first
manhood?
class if you can
Now you
afford to
coming
put
at
in
my
first class. You don't
manhood?
cut corners with her. This is shameful. Just shameful.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Dan, I know you have a 7 to 7 day, but you get a break from us right now. We'll talk to you soon.
Go eat lunch.
Thank you so much for being with us.
On me.
It's 10:20 in the morning.
It's lunch for him.
Oh, my
it's lunch
goodness.
for him.
All right, we'll keep it rolling. Lewis, you'll be back with us for more of these good times. We're going to go to the NBA now. After the 110-107 win over the Knicks, thanks to Kevin Durant dropping 53, KD called out New York's mayor, Eric Adams, several times by name when discussing Kyrie Irving, who sat courtside for the
Kyrie comes into the building and sits courtside, walks with you guys into the locker room, but obviously can't take 2 steps onto the floor and play.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand it at all. I mean, it's a few people in our arena that's unvaxxed, right? Like, they lifted all of that in our arena, right? So I don't get it.
It's a second mandate that says he can come in but can't play.
I don't get it. It just feels like at this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point to flex their authority. But, everybody out here looking for attention, and that's what I feel like the mayor wants right now, some attention, But he'll figure it out soon. He better. But it just didn't make any sense. Like, there's unvaxxed people in this building already. We got a guy who can come into the building. I guess, are they fearing our safety? I don't get it. So, yeah, we're all confused. Pretty much everybody in the world is confused at this point. Early on in the season, people didn't understand what was going on, but now it just looks stupid. So hopefully, Eric, you got to figure this out.
All right, KD looking for some answers. Big Perk here with us, looking clean. Thank you for being with us, sir. Stephen A., I'm going to start with you. Was it smart for KD to call out Eric Adams?
Hell no, it was not. But before I get into the KD angle, let me say, Big Perk, it was good seeing you draped all over the TV screen yesterday at Kevin Garnett's retirement. I'm proud of my brother. I'm happy they retired Kevin Garnett's jersey. It was well-deserved. That is real as it gets when it comes to that brother KG. And I was very, very happy to see all of y'all there in support of him. Now let me get back to KD. It wasn't wise. Let me say this. KD is not wrong with what he said. I want to be very clear. Kevin Durant was not wrong in terms of it makes no sense to have a policy, a mandate in place where you play for the home team so you cannot play for the Brooklyn Nets because of the city mandate, but somebody from another team can come into the arena and play against the Brooklyn Nets, even if you're unvaccinated. The fans can come in, even though they're not vaccinated. Kyrie Irving can come into the stadium, to the arena, unvaccinated, but he can't play. It makes absolutely no sense. It's a stupid mandate, and Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, needs to get rid of it, even though he's not responsible for putting a mandate in place. That was under the de Blasio regime, a former mayor of New York. Eric Adams needs to get with the times and understand how idiotic this rule is at this particular moment in time. But the reason why I say it was not wise is because Eric Adams is a politician. How do you think it's going to work for you, Kevin Durant, if you're coming up on a podium after a post-game conference in which you dropped 53 points and you're going to call out the mayor? Is that going to behoove him to move more expeditiously, more quickly, and capitulate to some of the things that you're calling him out? How has that worked? And even though we don't get into politics, let me get a little bit political here. How has it worked for this country when you see one side or the other ridiculing one another, calling each other names, calling folks out all the time, but then you got hands together and saying, would you do this for me? No wonder why the hell stuff ain't getting done. Because nobody's negotiating, nobody's compromising, nobody's talking with any degree of decorum or decency at one another. You butting heads, but then claiming you working together. That's not smart. That's what I mean. And I totally side with my man Mike Wilbon and Jalen Rose on NBA Countdown yesterday when they pointed that out. That's counterproductive. Kevin Durant, as Mike Wilbon so eloquently stated, Kevin Durant is entirely too intelligent, too smart, too accomplished, too business savvy to think that that would work for him with a politician. If you're Eric Adams, and I hope he doesn't do this, if you're Eric Adams, it might entice you to delay even more from lifting the mandate just because they took the position of calling you out publicly. You, Kevin Durant, you could get the man's number. You work for an owner that you play under an owner that has a very close relationship with Eric Adams. I am sure if Kevin Durant wanted to have a private one-on-one conversation with Eric Adams, he could have pulled that off in a nanosecond. Why would you do that? That is just not smart, KP. That's where I'm coming from on the Kevin Durant thing. We'll get into Kyrie in a minute, okay? But for right now, talking about KD, that's where I'm at with it, KP. Your turn.
Well, first of all, I wanted to tell you, hey, I appreciate you seeing me, in the garden last night. Like Swagoo say, I felt like a celebrity. Okay, I felt like a celebrity back in the garden. But look, Stephen A., here's why I got to disagree with you, Will Barn, my brother Will Barn, and Jay Rose. Y'all all are wrong. It's a new day and age. And listen, you got to shine light on the people that are wrong because the mandate is not held privately. That's public. So why not call the mayor out publicly? See, I love what Kevin Durant when did after the post-game interview. You know why? Because it got me and you sitting up here talking about it today. So as long as you keep shining light on it publicly, then you holding the mayor accountable. Forget all that talking behind the scenes and all that. You don't think they probably didn't done that already? Nothing is getting done. My thing is, in today's world, when you have this dumb rule that we all agree on that doesn't make any sense at all, then you gotta call it out. And you got to call it out publicly. That's why I agree with Kevin Durant and what he did last night. Look, call it out, man. Bring it to the forefront. Let people talk about it. Let the mayor wake up with it on his mind. Let Eric Adams wake up and turn on his television and see us talking about it this morning so that way he could not lose train of thought that he need to get something done about this rule and get something done ASAP. Because Kyrie Irving deserves to be on the basketball court, period. That's all it comes down to. He deserves to be on the basketball court. And last but not least, what Kevin Durant has shown us is that he's probably, as far as his brothers, he's the most loyal dude around the world.
That's true.
When it comes down to protecting his brother. And that's all he was doing. He was speaking up for his brother, Kyrie Irving, that was sitting courtside yesterday while he was sitting up there playing.
Well, let me say this to you, KP. You'll have a point in my mind if Kevin Durant had that private conversation with the mayor. I don't know that to be true, but my thinking is, in saying what I said, it's hard to imagine that he did, because if he did, there would have been nothing wrong with saying I spoke to the mayor and I would disagree with him. You know what? He needs to change this rule. This is nonsense. But if you didn't speak to him, you're Kevin Durant. You do have a level of clout that most people don't have. And what I'm saying is first order of business is trying to get it done, not calling them out. You can talk about calling folks out all you want to and bringing stuff to public light. I get all of that. But when you talk about getting things done, that's not usually how things get done. Usually things get done when you've got your cachet and you wield it behind the scenes. Now, sometimes it calls for you to take it public, but that can't be your initial step. And I was making an assumption, in fairness to you and your take, I'm making the assumption that Kevin Durant has not spoken to the mayor directly, because I think had he done so, he would have said so and then said, but I disagree with him on this particular point. And then he would have went from there, and then it would have made more sense. But if you didn't say that publicly, my attitude is, why would you come out publicly when you got the cachet to talk to him directly? Because I assure you, I can promise you, if Kevin Durant wanted to talk to Mayor Eric Adams, he could get Eric Adams on the phone by noon today.
Let me ask you something, Stephen A.
Sure.
Since you brought up the big bros, right? You, my brother Will Barn, Jay Rose. I believe that all you guys are powerful individuals, right? Because of the platform that you guys have, set for you for yourselves, as far as being voices, that people listen to. Powerful individuals. Haven't you called out this dumb rule?
Yes, many times.
You called it out, right?
Many times. Many times.
Publicly, right?
Yes, yes.
You didn't have to go sit and have a private conversation with Mayor Adams, right?
Yeah, but it's not affecting me.
Yeah, but it's a dumb rule. So at the end of the day, it's not affect. But this is my thing. Whether it's affecting you or not, right is right and wrong is wrong.
I agree.
And we got to call it.
Perk, hold on 1 second, though. I don't think Stephen A. disagrees with that. I think it was, and we all agree that Kevin Durant's right, but the tone of it might have been like a little offensive to the mayor, where he might double down now. I think that's what Stephen A. is trying to say. Like the way he came at it might irk the mayor more, instigate him a little bit more to double down on it, just because the way it was presented. So it's not that the message is wrong. You know, it was just kind of how he worded it and the tone of it.
Yeah, but Molly, I mean, when emotions are involved, everything is not going to come out peaches and cream.
But
I hear you. We're just saying there could be consequences, essentially.
Listen, we were getting ready to get to transition to Kyrie Irving about how wise it was for him to show up at the arena last night. So let's just get right into that and transition that, because it's all in the same bowl, okay? Here's my point. To get to Kevin Durant first, and then I understand what Kevin Durant's saying. Kevin Durant is right. You and I are in agreement there. I just don't think he handled it correctly yesterday. But he's absolutely right with what he's saying. I said it weeks ago. I've been saying it for weeks. And as much as I've gotten on Kyrie Irving should be playing. Kyrie Irving should not be denied the right to play at Barclays Center. It's ridiculous that this rule is in place. But how you handle it matters. Like, for example, you KD, you more forceful in calling out the mayor than you've ever been in pushing Kyrie to get on the court. I need you, bro. I got to be out there on the court every night and night in, night out without you. You see how much easier life is for me when you're on the court? So we didn't hear anything about Kyrie from KD at all this season other than I support my brother. Then you Kyrie Irving, and you come in yesterday. Well, if you're the mayor, you're Kyrie Irving. You walked into that game yesterday on that court. In that arena at the Barclays Center. You were trying to make a statement clearly as well. And in doing so, how does that help you? See, the point is, the matter is, Kyrie's walking around like he's some heroine or whatever. You got his daddy at games hugging him and embracing him like, oh, my God, you've been so victimized. I'm here for you, son. I'm here for you. Like somebody did him wrong. You got his stepmama tweeting about how, you know what, Stephen A. and she mentioned me. That's why I can mention her. His stepmom, KP, actually tweeted talking about, I'm the first black woman to serve as an agent representing an NBA player in history. Talk about that, Stephen A. Well, congratulations. I mean, congratulations. I'm certainly not throwing any shade on that. I'm not questioning the qualifications. I don't know what that has to do with the price of tea in China. But, hey, I'm happy for you as long as that's what you wanted to do and Kyrie wanted you for that and your family wanted to. Yeah, I'm sure your family's wonderful. Ain't nobody throwing any shade on that. But the bottom line is this. Kyrie Irving is not a star. Kyrie Irving is a superstar. This brother is box office. He is spectacular. And he's not playing in Brooklyn. Although the rule is bogus now, the fact of the matter is the only issue anybody had with it initially is that visiting players were allowed to play. We were saying visitors shouldn't be allowed to play in the Barclays Center either if they're unvaccinated. The NBA agreed with that. The NBPA agreed with that. But now they're supportive of Kyrie because they know the rule makes no sense when you're allowing visitors and fans who are unvaccinated to be at the Barclays Center. But that wasn't everybody's original position. So we need to pay attention to that and stop acting like Kyrie Irving is some victim here. Yeah. Kyrie made a choice. And Kyrie made a choice to sit up there and say, I'm not doing this, even if it's going to potentially cost my team. Now, that's his right. But that's his choice. And we can't act like that wasn't a choice that he made.
He still could get vaccinated.
And he still could get vaccinated.
Keep that in mind.
Eric, the mayor said
he still could before the playoffs.
Friday, I think it was Friday or Saturday, the mayor said, listen, what y'all looking at me for? Kyrie Irving can resolve all of this. He could play tomorrow if he got vaccinated. That's what Mayor Adams said. I didn't say that, but that's what Mayor Adams said.
Yeah.
Last word here.
So we're talking about, you're upset, Stephen A., about Kyrie attending the game yesterday?
No, I'm just saying. It's the same. It's along the same lines of what I'm saying to KD. What are you? You're exacerbating the issue. You're antagonizing the very person that you need to change the rule. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how wise it is. I don't know if that's going to get done what they want to get done, even though they deserve to get it done, because Kyrie and KD are right here.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. My mindset, when I'm right and I know somebody is all the way in the wrong, is to apply pressure. I want to keep applying pressure. And I think that's what KD and Kyrie Irving is doing right now. They are applying pressure. Because listen, like I said, Stephen A., we living in a whole different age right now. We living in a whole different world than what we were 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. Guys are coming up. Guys are being more visible. Guys are speaking out. Guys are shining the light. Although me and you and I both agree, even Molly, we agree on what they're saying. But look, I understand. Some people may want to do it this way, but I'm with the way that they're doing it and keep applying pressure to Eric Adams.
All I got to say is I hope it works.
Yeah,
I hope it works. I hope it works because I want to see Kyrie and KD on the court competing for a championship. I wholeheartedly support Kyrie being allowed to play at the Barclays Center. Mayor Adams should lift the mandate right now. It's bogus. It's garbage. Get rid of it. I just don't know if them doing it is going to work for them.
Well, it certainly highlights the
by
hypocrisy that he can be in the building even if he's not playing. Yeah, go ahead, Brooke.
Stephen A., by the way, on another note, I felt your pain on how you sit in that seat and get double teamed at times because Friday, I mean, I got a taste of it. I mean, Molly and Monica, you know what I mean?
They tried. You got to watch
Wait.
They're traders. You got to watch them.
Hold up. You said we tried? We tried or Perk tried? Watch the tape.
They tried.
Watch the tape.
Molly throw shade. I saw her throw shade at me, too. Talk about UConn. They're the one team that went at the Garden. I saw her. I saw her. I mean, Molly going to get hers. She's not, her and Monica, and Kimberly, all of them. I've taken enough from these ladies. They're wonderful, but I've taken enough from them. I'm coming for all of them. I'm coming for all of them.
Guess what? We're ready. We stay ready.
I don't believe it.
Well,
you
please.
better be ready.
Oh, please.
You better be ready.
Big Perk, we had fun. Come on now. All right, we'll leave it there.
Why you wearing Carolina blue?
Finally here, 68 teams battling over 3 weeks for the right to be crowned champion. Here are the favorites according to Caesars. Gonzaga, who lost in the title game last year, tops the list, followed by another West Coast team in Arizona. The defending champs, Baylor Bears, have the 5th shortest odds, while Duke in Coach K's final tournament check in at 14 to be won. It is great to be joined by our coach, Seth Greenberg.
Coach!
Hello, Coach. Do you see how thin Coach is?
I have to confess, I have been a little jealous. I've watched him. He looks in good shape and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, he's doing a better job than me. I mean, I got to talk to him about that.
You're busier than me, Stephen A. I mean, I'm living on memories.
Stop.
Please. You are the show, so let's get to it.
Yes.
Let's start with Duke. Coming off that disappointing loss, obviously, to Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game. What's the Blue Devils' ceiling in Coach K's final run here?
Look, their ceiling is to get to a Final Four and win a national championship, but the way they're playing now, they're just not a good basketball team. They're not playing well, and everyone talks about the championship game against Virginia Tech, which Virginia Tech absolutely put on a clinic. But think about the game before against Syracuse. Syracuse absolutely was in that game. They were without their best player, Buddy Boeheim. Look, to me, I look at Duke. They don't have an identity defensively. They're not turning people over and creating offense out of defense like they did early in the season. And then offensively, they've got really good players. But I don't think there's a pecking order. Like, Paul Banchero's a really good player. He'll play for about 10 minutes, take over a game, and then he'll disappear. A.J. Griffin makes shots. To me, they don't have an identity offensively, especially in the last 5 minutes of the game. And then defensively, they don't impose their will on the game. So I have some concerns for Duke right now. They're not playing at a championship level.
And I'm surprised by it because this kid Banchero, I'm really a big fan of his, but I also pay attention to the fact that from a Duke perspective, to lose to North Carolina in Mike Krzyzewski's last game at Cameron Indoor, and to then lose to Virginia Tech. I was saying to myself, the Carolina loss is going to inspire them. They're going to run the table now. They're going to close the deal. They can win the national championship. But then I'm watching some of these other teams. We haven't talked about Baylor enough. They're the reigning defending national champions. Kansas is the number 1 seed. You can never dismiss them with Bill Self at the helm. I'm just looking at some. I watched Iowa the other day with the Murray brothers. This kid, King and Murray. I mean, I love this kid. And Bohannon with the big time 3. Indiana, Mike Woodson. I mean, I'm just looking at a lot of these guys. Talk to me about the team that you think we're not talking enough about, who we should be talking about, Coach.
Well, I think it's Iowa. You mentioned Keegan Murray. Keegan Murray gets off the bench and drops 25. I mean, he might drop 30 on a good day. To me, he could have a Kemba-type run in the NCAA tournament. Now, he's not Kemba in terms of dynamic off the bounce. The guy makes threes. You can post him up. He can play in the mid-post. They run great offense. They get him in all the different places in the action. They move him in the action. He rebounds the ball. He blocks shots. This Iowa team scores it easy. Where they've improved Iowa is defensively. Defensively, Iowa used to be a team that tried to just outscore you. And I know people, don't at me. I know you got to outscore your opponent. But now they can get stops. They change their defenses. They'll extend their defense. They'll switch. They'll trap ball screens. They'll do different things offensively to play some zone. Iowa is a team that can make a deep run. In fact, I've got Iowa making it out of the Midwest.
Yeah, give me can I get his Final Four?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Will you give us your Final Four?
Yeah, sure. It's Gonzaga, Kentucky, Arizona, and Iowa.
Okay.
Kentucky? You feeling good about Calipari's group?
I'm not feeling great about it because they got Davion Mintz and Kellen Grady got to make some shots. But they got this guy, Oscar Tshiebwe. He's a mountain masquerading as a man. I mean, the guy goes up, but the ball gets shot. It's like a pass off the backboard. So you got Tshiebwe doing that. The pieces fit for Kentucky. They can score at warp speed, which is important. Oscar's become a better offensive player. They get him the ball in the post. I like their versatility defensively. And when they kind of put their mind to it, they can take you out defensively. The one thing they've got to do is they've got to take care of the basketball. And then when people get up and into them, they've got to execute a little bit better. I thought Tennessee took them out, pushed them out one step further. But I like this Kentucky team.
Coach, the team with the best record is a #1 seed in Arizona. You haven't mentioned them yet. They're 31-3. Are we not giving them the love that they deserve? I mean, are we ignoring that?
I'm not ignoring them. I got them as my national champion. This is an Arizona team that plays at warp speed. I'm talking about elite in transition. They got great wing plays. Dalen Terry and Benedict Mathurin. Mathurin will be a lottery pick. All right, those guys absolutely can attack the basket. They both can defend. They share the ball. They're not a good passing team.
They're
can defend, a great passing team, and they can really defend. Christian Koloko, one of the most improved players in the country. And the 5, they got depth at the 5, and Azulis Tabrelas is a tough matchup at 6'11" at the 4 spot. Arizona's the real deal. They can score it. They can defend. They're a terrific passing team. They get easy buckets. They're Gonzaga 2.0, but I think they're better defensively.
Coach, I'm supposed to ask you about a sleeper. Maybe this counts as one, but they're a 5 seed. Seriously, how far is UConn going?
Oh, Lord.
Do you like it here? They're playing in Buffalo.
Miss Molly, I like the Huskies. I think the Huskies has a shot have a shot at Connecticut if they get, at Gonzaga if they get to that game. Here's the deal. Physical defensively, check. Isaiah Whaley is a guy that can rebound the ball, defend multiple positions, check. I think Martin is absolutely a tough matchup at the wing. Adama Sanogo in the low post can go and get you easy baskets, and R.J. Cole obviously can break you down off the bounce. I like this Connecticut team. And, look, Danny Hurley gets those guys to play as hard as humanly possible. He's just going to stay off the officials.
Coach, you're killing me. You're spending entirely too much time on UConn. Just stop it, okay? Let me say this to you, Coach. I think Arkansas got an opportunity to take them out before they could get to Gonzaga. How about that?
I think either of those teams can give Gonzaga a run. I've been on Arkansas all season long. JT Notes can really score. Jalen Williams up front. They have a really versatile defensive team. They're really aggressive. Now, they don't shoot it great. At times, they get their shot selection suspect. Connecticut's shot selection's a little bit better. Two teams that mirror each other in a lot of ways. Good size, good strength, experienced teams. The Arkansas-Connecticut game, if it happens, will be a good game. But I do like your Huskies, Molly. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Stephen A., guess who I'm not worried about? Arkansas.
You okay? We'll find out. Find out. I did watch the whole Iowa-Indiana game on Saturday, man, because I had to support my man Mike Woodson, who I thought did a damn good job at Indiana in his first year. But Iowa's something else, man.
We'll see how much
Indiana's tough in that 11 game. I'll tell you one thing. Indiana, they're going to win the play-in game, and I think they could advance. Indiana's playing well.
I got issues with their point guard, though.
You should. David Johnson's playing a little better.
They got everything else, but they got the point guard spot suspect right now.
You work on your bracket. We're up against it. Coach, you're the best. Talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Tom Brady.
And at age 44, Brady played his final game in the NFL.
It's not an easy thing to do to just replace Tom Brady. I don't think you ever will. He's Tom Brady. If Tom Brady wants to come back, we'd welcome him back.
If Tom wants to come back, they're open arms, brother.
No, I'm just going to take things as they come. You never say never.
two goats right there. It's cool seeing him with Cristiano Ronaldo. It's always the right time when Bomani Jones is here. Good to see you, sir. And we'll get into your new show in just a second. But this is a wild sports day. So first, let me get to this. Brady is back. This is not a joke. He retired February 1st, unretired Sunday, making good on his word of playing until 45. Bo, were you surprised that he unretired 40 days later?
I think I was more surprised about the 40 days later part than the unretire part. I could totally see unretire, but I would have thought that would have been toward training camp, right? Like we watched Brett Favre do it, and it would be like, oh, it's time to get back. You start getting anxious, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. Normally, when cats make a move like Brady did, it's like a couple years before they were a little tired of it, and then they, came back around and like, okay, I'll go to training camp. I thought it would be much later if he made a move like that. And that's why I look at this kind of curious as to what went to the initial decision and where we got to at this point. Is he just kind of betting like, look, if I am going to come back, I probably need to do it now so that the Bucs will know what they can do so they don't go draft a quarterback or come up with some other plan. Like, let me make sure I got my spot while my spot is still there. Yeah, but this was stunning. This was not what I expected to happen.
I didn't expect it to happen either, but if it were going to happen, I'm not surprised that it was yesterday because obviously with free agency set at the beginning of the day, you got a situation where you got guys that were going a different direction. You ain't thinking about coming to Tampa if Tom Brady ain't there. But if Tom Brady's there, it gives you cause to pause, and it makes you say, wait a minute now. I mean, the GOAT's coming back. I might want to reconsider. There's no state income taxes there in Florida. The weather's nice. On top of it all, we got a pretty damn good team. We just lost by 3 points in the divisional playoff game to the ultimate Super Bowl champion. And the quarterback that's coming back is not only a 7-time champion, okay? He might be 43 years of age, going on 44, but damn, he just threw for over 5,300 yards, 43 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions, okay? And brought us back from a 27-3 deficit. I might want to stay with this brother. The money got to be right to some degree, but I might want to stay with this brother. That's what the timing is. And I think the one thing to ultimately peel away from this Bomani as well, when we bring up the Brett Favres of the world and how they took forever to make the decisions. If you're wondering why we were all getting on Brett Favre, that was why. Because you took so long to make your decision. And the franchise ultimately was held hostage because there were things that they wanted to do. They just needed you to make up your mind. And you appeared as if you were taking your sweet old time. Whereas in this case, whether it's Jason Licht, it's Bruce Arians, they talked about how they were talking to Tom Brady, particularly over the last few days, and they received indications that ultimately he was going to come back. So that's a guy that's not only a champion, it's not only the GOAT, not only somebody that just had a stellar season and was a top 2 MVP candidate in most folks' minds. He's also a consummate professional that was considerate of people other than himself. That's what it came down to for him making that decision yesterday.
And if he wants to be inconsiderate later and quit, he can do that.
Yeah.
Right? It's a whole lot later to jump back in it now and then leave later if you change your mind than vice versa. Right? So I think at once he could be very considerate by doing this. And it also leaves open the possibility, if you want to be a bit selfish about it on the back end, which I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with. I felt like this at this point. Now I don't, because one thing you shouldn't feel obligated to do is get the hell beat out of you for 6 months just because you said something a few months ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Ain't no disagreement.
What does it say to you about Tom Brady, though? He's already got 7 rings, that he wants to come back for more, and he said he's got unfinished business. We know the team wasn't healthy, so essentially didn't get a fair shake this run.
Well, it's hard to walk away from the table when you're up, right? Like, no matter who you are, if you are up, it's hard to do. And so, like, I was talking about this on my podcast, The Right Time. Like, if I go to Vegas and I put $200 down, I've spent that $200. If I get it back, that's great. But I'm here to have $200 worth of fun. And if I get up, I'm probably going to wind up down because I had already felt like I cashed in that $200 from the very beginning. If you're as far up as Tom Brady, he's like, yeah, I'm willing to come out here and maybe lose a little bit on the back end. Like, I think we think about the guys like Johnny Unitas is a historical example. We can even look at like the end for Brett Favre. Peyton Manning, they won the Super Bowl, but he looked bad at the end of that. And we're like, man, you don't want to see that guy go out like that.
That's right.
They don't care, right? Like they're not afraid of being embarrassed in the way that most of us are afraid of being embarrassed. So for him, the worst thing that can happen is I've played 20 however many great seasons and I might have one bad one. That's not a terrifying thought. They're willing to roll the dice on that.
And start a game at 45 years old, and that's what he always said. And we know he has that whole TB12 wellness business as well. So, I mean, that's
well, the biggest thing now is he got brothers raving about it. I interviewed Mike Evans on Stephen A's World on ESPN Plus. I got to tell you, this brother was raving about TB12. and how it's changed his life from a health perspective. And so that kind of stuff combined with Tom Brady coming back for a 23rd season, you do find yourself looking at it and going like this, what's your secret? You know, in other words, we ain't trying to be a football player. We know we can't play quarterback, but damn it, we could be in some good health. Well, it ain't like he walking around with an 8-pack, you know, buffs and all of this other stuff. But he seems to be in tremendous health. You might want people, you got people out there want to gravitate to that.
Tell you, I had skepticism about all of that because that dude he does it with, there's reasons to be skeptical of him, right?
Sure.
Doing the radio show one day, and Trevor Price, former Pro Bowl defensive end, called in. And he said, look, hitting Ben Roethlisberger was like hitting glass, and glass breaks. He said you would hit Tom Brady and he would melt into your arms, right? Like all the guys that have the longevity thing is about pliability. Like all like the Ricky Henderson types, all that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Correct.
They figured out the flexibility was the way to wind up playing for all this time. But he said it was a physical difference in hitting Tom Brady from the blind side, that you came and he just fell into your arms and then went to the ground. Like he has figured something out. Honestly, where he should be sharing it instead of selling it, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's doing. He's sharing it. He's just selling it. That's what he's doing. He's making sure he get paid for it.
Listen, you both got enough shows. Why don't you book Alex Guerrero, who runs TB12 with him, and then maybe you'll get some of those secrets. And go ahead.
That man ain't trying to answer no questions.
I would tell you this, Bomani knows how to interview somebody. I can tell you that right now. And Alex sit down with Bomani Jones, that's going to be must-see television.
Absolutely.
I'm here to tell you that right now.
Wait. I heard you sat down with Bomani Jones.
I did.
We don't just have the right time with Bomani Jones. We now have Game Theory as well on HBO, your new show. Huge congrats.
Thank you.
And Stephen A. was on your premiere episode. Let's see it.
Part of this job is establishing personal relationships because people have to trust you enough to tell you stuff. But then that also means the day's going to come around where you're going to have to turn it back around on them, which is one of the harder things to do, not just because of the function of it, but also it don't feel good coming down on your friends. But that's what you have to do sometimes, right? How hard, even with an understanding that you got to do it, how difficult can that be for you?
You do have some professional athletes, and, you know, they got hang-arounds, they got a crew. And I'm like, what do you think I have? I mean, I'm in my 50s, you know, I'm not trying to live like that. But I am from New York. I got a lot of friends. And over the years, I've accumulated a lot of friends in very influential positions. Do you think I'm going to be scared of what you're going to do to me?
I just wanted to give that a moment to breathe. I just had no word. I just wanted to.
Well, I mean, listen, Bomani did a great job asking me questions that most people don't ask, and more importantly, that you know, when you're in my position, you're anxious to answer, because a lot of times, you know, I pride myself on being a human being and being decent and respectable and trying to be in constant pursuit of the truth. I have a job to do, and so what happens is, you know, a lot of times, particularly in today's day and age, you know, he asked a question, you know, in terms of people coming at you, possibly trying to intimidate you or whatever. The thing that people get lost in the shuffle about it is that, you know, especially in my case, I was a journalist. So what happens is that when you're a journalist, you're supposed to be in constant pursuit of the truth, okay? And you're supposed to be fearless about disseminating what you believe that truth to be. If you can't do that, you don't belong in this business. A lot of times people don't get that. And the fact that Bomani asked me that question, I really appreciated it, because it's something that any journalist should answer exactly the same way that I answer. Like if somebody could walk up to you and simply get in your face and that could deter you from being in pursuit of the truth, why are you in this business? So what I felt, I believe anybody in my position should feel. And that's what I expressed to him.
And let me tell you this. We did that interview on a Saturday afternoon. And Stephen A's time was incredibly short and was kind enough to come in and do it. They mic'd him up outside the door. He walked in, we greeted each other, we sat down, and we went for an hour straight. Like there's no stop. And Steve and I are friendly. I wouldn't say we were friends. We don't know each other that well, right? So it's not like I was just calling my buddy to sit down. And you were good enough to go through so much stuff. We got some other content that we're looking at putting on social because there was a wide range of things that was going on. And I was so appreciative of you for being willing to do it. And I wanted it almost symbolically, right? Like you are the biggest dude in this game and I have this opportunity, and I wanted to give people a glimpse into what it is being you, right? And different parts of it, some of the criticisms that you dealt with and everything else. And that was satisfying just to have. And the team that we had, I tell you, they shot that looking like a Hennessy commercial, you know?
Yeah.
But we just
It looks great.
Yeah, we just got in and we sat down, and there was just so much good stuff for us to go back and
Yeah.
forth and talk about. And that's the kind of thing that the show was going to be, but it's going to be hard to top that one for what we had on the first.
Well, let me say this, like you said, and I appreciate the compliments and the whole bit, but sitting in this position, if you're not helping brothers like this, what are you doing? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my job. This dude got a show, Game Theory on HBO. Then I thought the first episode was great. I think the future episodes are going to be even better. He's an exceptional interviewer. He knows what he's talking about. Bomani's a brilliant brother. And I was proud to help him in any way that I could, because the bottom line is, when you've got cats like him out in this business, you should be doing what you can to help guys flourish. And that's why I decided to do the interview with him.
Absolutely. We're up against it, but brilliant and entertaining. And I've never heard anyone ask that question before. So you're asking the questions that we all want to hear, which is interesting, because I've heard Stephen A interviewed quite a bit.
Thank you.
All right, he's sticking around. After dropping 50+, you won't believe who Kevin Durant calls out. Did the fellas like KD going no holds barred? That debate on deck. And Anthony Davis says he's optimistic that he'll return this season, but should the Lakers actually keep him out? Big perk. And Stephen A, go head to head on that. Yeah, that was a great question.
I appreciate it. Let's do.
After the 110-107 win over the Knicks, thanks to Kevin Durant dropping 53, KD called out New York's Mayor Eric Adams several times by name when discussing Kyrie Irving, who sat courtside for the game. Take a listen.
What was the feeling when Kyrie comes into the building and sits courtside, walks with you guys into the locker room, but obviously can't take 2 steps onto the floor and play?
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand it at all. I mean, there's a few people in our arena that's unvaxxed, right? Like, they lifted all of that in our arena, right? So I don't get it.
It's a second mandate that says he can come in but can't play.
I don't get it. It just feels like at this point now, somebody's trying to make a statement or a point to flex their authority. But, everybody out here looking for attention, and that's what I feel like the mayor wants right now, some attention, But he'll figure it out soon. He better. But it just didn't make any sense. Like, there's unvaxxed people in this building already. We got a guy who can come into the building. I guess, are they fearing our safety? I don't get it. So, yeah, we're all confused. Pretty much everybody in the world is confused at this point. Early on in the season, people didn't understand what was going on, but now it just looks stupid. So hopefully, Eric, you got to figure this out.
Bomani back with us. And I'm happy to have you on this, because I don't know your thoughts on this whole subject. Where are you on KD calling out the mayor? Was this smart?
Well, I mean, I feel like Eric Adams has said, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand it doesn't make sense, but I'm not the person that's in a position to be the one to change what the situation is. And I do think it's bad optics just because everybody else is out here naked face. He's naked face sitting right here on the bench, but he can't work. I don't understand myself how it works. And at the risk of sounding a bit arrogant, I feel like if I don't understand it, there's a whole lot of people that do not understand it. I do understand this, though. There is one person unilaterally who can change all this, and it's Kyrie. Like, as much as this doesn't make sense, you don't understand why it is that they can do this, but I can't do that. You do understand what the path would be to get back there, which is just to go get the shot. He doesn't want to do that. I'm not going to judge him in this conversation for the fact that he doesn't want to do it. That's his right. But you made that call. You made that decision. And if it's that important to you, ride it out. Andrew Wiggins did not want to go get that shot, but then he looked around and was like, all right, I guess this is what I got to do. It's the same place for Kyrie. He still has the power to change this. He's made the decision not to do it. I'm not going to fight for him because he decided that he was going to die on this hill, or at least die at home on this hill, because he's killing it on the road.
I got a few positions on this, and I'm glad that you're here because I'll say it right in front of you. First of all, he's not the only one that can change this with a unilateral decision. Mayor Adams can as well. Mayor Adams has been on the record basically coming across as if he doesn't even understand why the mandate is still in place, considering the fact that it's been lifted for the most part throughout the city, and you've got people walking in the Barclays Center who are unvaccinated, including Kyrie yesterday and the day before when Duke played at the Barclays Center. He's walking in there unvaccinated. If he can be in the arena unvaccinated and fans can be in the arena unvaccinated and visiting players who are unvaccinated can actually play at the Barclays Center, Mayor Adams, it makes no sense to have this mandate in place. You are the mayor. OK, you don't have any problems making far more important decisions than this. OK, from a unilateral perspective, even though you might get input from other people, ultimately it comes down to you. You're the mayor. Act like it. Be the mayor and make the call because it's bogus. That is true. But two things can be true. Everything that I just said can be true. And the fact that Kyrie Irving has made this decision, one I consider to be incredibly selfish, that can be as true as well. You might not want to call him out on that. I respect that. I'll be damned if I'm not, because this brother, he's been in the league for over 11 seasons. He has never played. He's played more than 60 games 4 times. That means the other 7 to 8 times, he's played 60 games or less in a season. This brother finds one excuse after another to miss work. He is committed to doing what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to do it. And if you're Kevin Durant, listen, I understand that he's right with what he's saying. Kevin Durant was absolutely right. He wasn't wrong. Kyrie's right in terms of what he feels about the policy. But the reality is that there are a whole bunch of brothers in the NBA and the NFL, I might add, who wanted nothing to do with the vaccine. Nothing. Okay? Some of us here at Disney didn't want anything to do with the vaccine. But a mandate came down. And when that mandate came down, you had a choice. Am I going to sit up there and buck the system and say to hell with it and do what I want to do at the expense of my team? Or am I going to capitulate like everybody else did for the betterment of the team? Kyrie has made a choice to go his individual route. We could say what we want, but at the end of the day, it comes down to him making this decision. It's about him. Everybody else is a distant second. That includes Kevin Durant, who he leaves out there most nights to handle business by himself on his own. And then you got some fools out here that are so supportive of Kyrie. They're supportive of Kyrie Irving because he's standing up to the man and he's standing up to the system. And he's saying, the hell with y'all, I'm going to do it. And they're supportive of that. But in the same breath, you at the Barclays Center and you never get to watch them. So what I want to see, Bomani, what I want to see is you, Brooklyn, you get to the postseason. You got a game 7. All right, you got a championship. You got the chip on the line. You can play tomorrow if you get vaccinated. You going to leave your brother hanging? You going to leave him out there on his own? Because to me, no one's talking about that. The vaccine from a literal perspective, I'm with you. Everybody got their own feelings about it. Consult with your medical professional and do what you feel is best for you. But from a macro perspective, taking into account Cleveland, Boston, some of the things you've done since you've been Brooklyn, taking time off after you had 10 months off, 2 weeks into the season, just because the riots took place at the U.S. Capitol. At some point in time, people got to stop being damn jokes and justifying this brother not showing up to work. So I want to see Bomani. Is he going to show up? Or you going to leave your brother hanging? That's the only thing that makes me want Eric Adams to hesitate. But I'm really not serious about that because I really want Eric Adams to lift that mandate so Kyrie can be back on the court playing. But I would love to see what he would do if he was in that spot.
But the irony of it is, because Kyrie has missed all these games, he has saved himself from the Game 7 dilemma because the Nets won't have home court at any point in this postseason.
Okay, Game 6.
You know what I mean? No, but I still think that's a wild part about this when you think about it. If the play-in tournament started today, the playoffs, all of that stuff, if the Nets beat the Raptors, they would be set to play Philadelphia in the first round. We would get that big old messy, dramatic series right now.
Let me remind you of something, though. If the Nets played the Raptors, in Canada, the mandate exists. Kyrie can't play.
That's right. That's
Kyrie
right.
can't play in Toronto.
And it would be hosted by Toronto. Like, this is all nuts and crazy to me that it's managed to go this far with him. I just have such a problem with the idea. Once you decide you're standing on principle, there's some stuff you can't complain about if it's that important. So if this is what you do, you just got to go ahead and do it. And you got to ride this thing out and live it with the consequences.
And then your teammates have to eat it, even though that they had a shot at winning the chip. That's the part that's so hard because this team's poised to make a run.
Yeah, but I feel like, and the read I've had on this is Kevin Durant and being okay with Kyrie playing half games was not a move I would have made, and I don't think it was a good move for everybody else that was there. It's just hard to sell the idea that this dude isn't going to be here all the time. The one way I still say that they could have fixed this, if this was the Knicks instead of the Nets, they'd have been got rid of this mandate a long time ago.
No doubt.
Eric Adams said,
Totally agree with you.
Eric Adams was like, oh, man, you know, I want that ring. Don't nobody here think about that as that ring. If it was the Knicks.
What's that? I promise. And let me tell you something else. And let me tell you something. This is why Brooklyn's separate from New York. This is why the Nets fans are separate from the Knicks fans. Had that brother been on the New York Knicks and you were missing these games, I assure you it would not have been comfortable for him to walk into Madison Square Garden. While you had Nets fans slapping high fives, giving them pounds and hugs, embracing them like he Gandhi, okay? Let me tell you something. That brother rolled up, if he played for the Knicks, and he rolled up at Madison Square Garden when you sitting out games because of the vaccine, when there's a whole bunch of people that took the vaccine and didn't want to take the vaccine, I promise you it would not have been comfortable for him to be in that garden yesterday.
Absolutely.
I promise you that.
But Monty Jones, congratulations.
Thank
Much
you.
deserved Game Theory
All
on
the best,
HBO.
bro.
Check him out. All right.
you.
Still
Keep
come
doing
on
your thing,
First
man.
Take. He's coming back down ranks where the Lakers may have just gotten a preview of what the postseason will look like. A blowout loss to the Phoenix Suns, allowing 48 first quarter points, losing by a final of 141-11. Meanwhile, some good news may be on the horizon for the Lakers, as Anthony Davis said before the game he's optimistic that he may be able to come back from his mid-foot sprain that has kept him sidelined since February 16th. Kendrick Perkins back here with us. Perk, what do you think? Should the Lakers bring AD back?
No. Bring him back for what, Molly? At this point in time, why would you bring him back? And right now, you bringing them back to say, oh, get into the play-in tournament and have a strong possibility of competing in the first round. It makes zero sense. The Lakers have one expectation and one goal, and that's to win the championship. And they're not doing it this year. Not with the personnel that they have right now. Russell Westbrook is completely out of it, okay, for whatever reasons, off the court, you know, dealing with the family issues, people attacking his family. I get all that, but he's completely gone. Him and LeBron James have zero chemistry. Carmelo Anthony can't guard a parked car. We heard what the young fella Jalen Green said about him, that they was going to attack him every single time down when the Rockets beat them the other night. Why bring Anthony Davis back? And can you put us back up on the double screen so I can see Stephen A? Because you know I'm always watching you, right? You know that. You know I'm always watching you. And I'm listening to you on the countdown, and you know what? You're really starting to get on my nerves with the disrespect to the Memphis Grizzlies. You know, I'm really getting tired of it. For the simple fact that you went on there and you said, oh, yeah. Well, do we, you know, they could possibly see Memphis in the way that LeBron playing. Do we honestly believe that the Memphis Grizzlies could win that series? That's what you said, right?
May I stop you? First of all, let's cut a couple of things out of the way. You are the protege. I am the mentor. So when you wag your finger at me and you talk about you really getting sick of me, respect your elders, okay? And watch your mouth and watch your tone. That's number one. Number two, KP, you know what makes me laugh about this position that you take with Anthony Davis?
What?
I'm going to put you in a box. I'm going to put you in a corner. And I'm going to warn you, there are people watching, and the people that are watching are the names that I'm going to bring up right now, or just one name in particular. Sitting down with an opportunity to be in the playoffs, okay? Would you say that to Kevin Garnett's face? Would you say, excuse me, you ain't going anywhere anyway. Why bother playing? Would you ever utter such blasphemous words in his presence? Would you do that?
No. Yeah, we did it before.
When?
We did it in 2008 and 2009. We told them to sit down. We told them to sit down.
That's the year y'all won the chip.
No. We won it in 07, 08. In 2008 and 2009,
okay.
We told Kevin Garnett, do not go take no toilet roll shot, big fella. Get healthy, and we just gonna go out here and let the chips fall where they may. At the end of the day, when you have a guy like Anthony Davis, who has been injured the way he's been injured this year, and he's coming back to fight for what? I have questioned his conditioning right now. Why bring him back and risk him hurting something else?
Let me answer that. I don't know. You make a good argument, because I really didn't think that you said that to KG, but you are right. I remember now. You are right. Y'all did tell him that. I will say this to you. I believe the way LeBron James is playing. People keep forgetting Anthony Davis was horrible from three-point range with 18% shooting. But he shot over 52%, 53% from the field. He was averaging 24 and 10. If LeBron is playing at an elite level and Anthony Davis can be Anthony Davis, can we definitively say that they couldn't win a first-round series? They couldn't win a play-in game? They couldn't make noise in the semifinals? I get what you're talking about. I didn't say they could beat Memphis. What you were missing with my point of countdown is that Mike Wilbon had been religiously stating, quote, young teams don't produce in the postseason. I don't care who they are. So what I was saying to Wilbon was, well, since you say that, if Memphis is the number 2 seed and the Los Angeles Lakers capture a 7th seed, are you sure that they can't win that series? Because of what Wilbon was talking about, I would have picked Memphis to lose to the Lakers because I believe the Lakers are done themselves. But I don't expect Anthony Davis or LeBron James to believe they're done if those two brothers are healthy and ready to go. And that's where my challenge lies. You're asking them, those two, to concede. And I think when those two are healthy, they don't have to concede to anybody. That's all I'm saying.
No, but Stephen A., you know, like I know, watching this Lakers team, they just don't have the personnel. And it's no disrespect to Stanley Johnson. He's doing everything that he possibly can, but he ain't it. There's no disrespect to
Malik
Austin
Monk
Reeves.
is having a good season. He can play.
But he's up and down. And let's talk about LeBron James. He's been phenomenal on the offensive end. On the defensive end, it's been a national disaster.
Yeah.
Not getting back in transition, bad body language and pouting. Yep. And he's my boy. But at the end of the day, he's not interested. And when you're not fully committed and you know that you don't have the personnel, why even waste your time?
Well, but we're making two different arguments. Like, for example, what I'm saying is, if you're Anthony Davis and LeBron James and you believe, you go for it. If you're the LeBron James you just described, these brothers already made their vacation plans in mid-April. And if that's the case, get it over with. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying if Anthony Davis and LeBron James are ready to go, I believe they can beat anybody. And if that's the case, you don't sit down for that. But if they're planning their vacation already, you're right.
Yeah, but we all believe in something that we know we can achieve. I believe I could get down to 250. I know that's so far away, it's crazy, but it's not gonna happen.
Well, actually, I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, all you gotta do is get on a James Harden diet. Get on a James Harden diet. I think you pull it off.
I think you pull it off. But it's not gonna happen. Get out of here, Big Perk. I believe in you. You can make that happen.
Him and Zion done got on some kind of diet. I want to know what's in their meal plan. I looked at Zion weeks ago. He looked like a tub. And now he look all cut up and everything, ready to go. I'm like, what the hell has been going on?
It's two things. You don't eat carbs and you do cardio. We got to go, though. Still to come on First Take, he already has.
This is what I was born to do. I've given my body my everything, every bit of energy. There's no shortcuts. I don't need exterior motivation. The ones that I have inside of me are enough. The clock's ticking on all of us. If you're going to compete against me, you better be willing to give up your life. I'm giving up mine.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
He's coming back.
He's coming back. He's coming back.
That is so hilarious. Oh, my gosh. Throwback. Oh, boy, big-time legendary quarterback coming out of retirement. Where have we seen this before? So now that he's back, what does the road ahead look like for the Bucs and Brady? Well, the schedule is not going to be easy. The two teams in the Super Bowl last year, the Rams and Bengals on the schedule, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on the schedule. And if that wasn't enough, their stiffest competition in the NFC, the Packers also on the calendar. Oh, yeah, and Aaron Rodgers is back. All of those four teams, however, will be home games. Louis Riddick back here with us. Louis, I love this question. Talk to me here. Who has the better chance at winning the Super Bowl next season? Is it that bad man or is it TB12?
Look, I'm always going to defer to the team that is strongest in the trenches. And Green Bay right now is the team that is stronger in the trenches. Look, Tampa Bay has some work to do. They have some work to do on this offensive line, despite the fact that Ryan Jensen is coming back. There is no guarantee that Alex Kappa is coming back at one guard, and Ali Marpet is already retired. And on the defensive side, Ndamukong Suh is a free agent. William Golston is a free agent. JPP is a free agent. Jordan Whitehead is a free agent. Carlton Davis is a free agent. In Green Bay, they have some issues now. They do have some key players that they need to get back for Aaron, especially on the defensive side of the ball. What is going to happen with Devondre Campbell at middle linebacker, who had an all-pro season? What's going to happen to Rasul Douglas at corner, who they wind up, getting just absolutely top-notch performance out of? But their offensive line is going to be strong up front. Devontae Adams is coming back. Alan Lazard is back. They needed another wideout to go along with those two to kind of round out that crew. But the running back position is also Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. They're solid right there. I'm going Green Bay has the better chance to go ahead and finally get to the Super Bowl and maybe win another one, because although they have some cap maneuvering that they're going to have to do in order to get compliant and make sure that they're able to re-sign the people that they need, this team is still pretty strong fundamentally at the core level. And Tampa Bay has a lot of things up in the air right now. And I know everyone's going to say, well, Tom wouldn't have come back unless Jason Licht could absolutely assure him that they could go ahead and run it back. I just don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. And once this legal tampering period, hey, don't wake up, Stephen. Hey, you heard what I'm saying. You hear me. You hear me. When this legal tampering period starts, we're going to find out whether or not Tampa Bay can get all their boys back. We're going to find out.
Well, they don't need all. I don't think they need all.
But I'm even picking your guy.
Lewis, he was getting nervous because you dropped so much knowledge that he got out his computer real quick and he was like, oh no, what am I going to do? What am I going to say?
Well, first
he
of all,
always got that iMac out there. I know.
That without question. And secondly, I'm no fool. I'm quite brilliant. And the reason I'm brilliant is because I know I'm not. I listen to those who are, like Louis Riddick, who knows football backwards and forwards. And so I just steal the knowledge and then I pick apart little holes that they bring up throughout the years. See, I watch everything. Excuse me. Well, here's my deal. Well, number one, we got the GOAT that we're talking about is coming back. Number two, chances are that all of those dudes who were planning on leaving, like you so eloquently pointed out, may rethink things because they know he's coming back. So I don't predict they're going to lose all of those dudes. You mentioned about 5 dudes on the defensive side of the ball. I think 3 of them will end up staying. I think an Ndamukong Suh will end up staying. I think a Jason Pierre-Paul will end up staying. I think about a couple of other cats, they may be staying as well. On the offensive side of the ball, I think a guy like Gronk will come back because he's good for big play situations, not over the course of 16 games during the regular season. But when money time arrives, I think he's somebody that you can depend on so long as he's healthy at that particular moment in time. Whether it's Leonard Fournette or somebody else, I think they'll be back. You think Godwin, obviously he got hurt, he could be back. Mike Evans is still there. There is some chemistry. You don't have those chemistry issues. And more importantly, when you take that into consideration and the fact that they lost last year, remember, they sit up there. What was their record last year? I'm trying to remember what their record was right here. It was 14. They went basically 13-4 for the regular season. So what did we have happen to them? You had a slew of injuries that they had to deal with. They would come chemistry issues. Their defense was compromised very early on in the season. Bunting and those guys got injured in the first game of the season against the Cowboys. So I look at it from this perspective. If I got cats coming back, I know that Green Bay is something to be reckoned with. They lost the game because of special teams, man. They lost the game. So 1 year you lose. Matt LaFleur takes the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands on a 4th down. Another year you lose because your special teams was trash and you didn't fix it all year long. I mean, we're thinking about stuff like this. Green Bay is definitely formidable, and Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. Make no mistake about it. But the flip side to it is something always seems to go wrong with Green Bay. Something always seems to go right when it comes to Tom Brady. If I'm talking about a better shot at a Super Bowl, based on what we saw last year and what we anticipate is coming back this year, I don't see anything wrong with giving Tampa Bay a slight edge.
No, man. Nope. Not having it. Nope. Because you're just basing it on last year. You're just basing it on, everything that happened last year is going to happen this year. You're basing everything that happened last year is going to happen this year. You say because the special teams were trash last year, they're going to be trash this year? Isn't Matt LaFleur a professional coach? Isn't he a professional coach? Didn't he replace the special teams coordinator? There are some teams that were trash last year that are going to be trash this year. We do know that.
Why is that? I'm just saying, we anticipate that. You think the Texans is going to be much? You think Jacksonville is going to be much?
What do you think is going to happen? What I'm saying is, their special teams, they got a new special teams coordinator. They're going to fix the special teams. Green Bay ain't going to lose games like they lost in this. They're not going to do that again. That's not going to happen again.
Get 'em, Lou.
I promise you that's not going to happen again. That's not going to happen again.
I just want to remember, on March 14th, Louis Riddick counted out Tom Brady, and Stephen A. went against that.
Why do we have to make it sound like that? I'm not taking the man out.
That's what I took away from it.
I didn't take away that.
No, hold on. I said that he did.
I
said that he did. I said he's counting on Aaron Rodgers more so than Tom Brady.
No,
I'm counting on.
No, he's counting on the Packers more.
I'm counting on the Packers front line. I'm counting on the trenches making the difference.
Well, the question was about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
I'm saying these brothers lost back-to-back playoff games at Lambeau Field. I understand that next year's a new season. Don't get me wrong. But because that season is not here yet, I get to fall back on what I just saw.
Hold on.
I get to go back on what I just saw.
Can I use your words then, what you always say? Because I watch you too, right? I watch your show too, right?
Go ahead.
It's fluid. It's all fluid. Right?
All right,
right?
we're done.
So you can say this now, but it's fluid.
It's fluid. It's fluid. That's what it's supposed to be. It's fluid. But certain things are not. And that is the greatness of Tom Brady for some reason. I mean, I got to see him. When you talk about, listen, we all know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers.
Seems like it's changing.
It hurt me that he lost to San Francisco and Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not going to lie. Had he lost the way he lost in Arizona years ago, like 48, 45 or something like that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But the fact that the man couldn't score more than 10 points at Lambeau Field in a divisional playoff game opposite Jimmy Garoppolo resonates with me. I'm sorry. I can't let that go.
You're learning. You're rolling with the GOAT. You get it.
That's all I'm saying.
Fluid.
Yes. Louis, you're hilarious.
He got me there.
We'll leave it there. He sure did. Still to come on First Take Trouble. Some quick takes. The NCAA Women's Tournament released their bracket yesterday. Talk some junk now, Stephen A. In South Carolina, the #1 seed, my UConn Huskies dropping down to the #2 line. Let's take a look at all the 1s and 2s. Iowa from the Big Ten and a 2 seed, and in the same region as South Carolina. They are led by Caitlin Clark, who averages a D1 best 27 points per game. Then the Stanford Cardinal, the defending champions, get a 1 seed, seeking their 4th ever NCAA title. And if UConn is to win a title for the first time since 2016, they'll have to get through NC State, the 1 seed in their region, who went 29-3 this season.
UConn is always no joke, all seriousness. This girl, Caitlin Clark, I interviewed her last week on Stephen A's World. She is spectacular. She is the Steph Curry of women's basketball. She pulls up from the logo on the run. And Dawn Staley and I go back many years. I haven't spoken to her in such a long time. But I am so proud of the job she's done in South Carolina. She is something special. She really is. What a sensational coach.
You know who else is back, though? Paige Buckets.
That's right.
So she's like Steph Curry herself. And if they faced NC State, it would be in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So that's essentially a home game. And we didn't have Paige for a lot of the season.
But Paige, Caitlin Clark's a different level.
Okay.
I'm just telling you. I love Paige. They're both going to be in the WNBA.
We got like 1 minute left. I didn't get to talk to you about this because you weren't here on Friday. Are you concerned about James Harden and big moments now from what we've seen?
I'm definitely so. When you go 3 for 17, when Kyrie Irving comes out of the tunnel, out of the locker room, and picks you up and guards you by himself one-on-one for practically the whole game, and you don't respond to that challenge, that says something. But I'm also saying this because I love James Harden. My brother, please listen to me. No shade on you whatsoever. You cannot be seen partying the night after you perform the way you performed against the Brooklyn Nets. That is a bad look. I don't care what pass Philadelphia gives you now. They will turn against you if you don't show up in these big moments and you out partying that same night. Can't do that. Allen Iverson partied a lot, but he performed first. Remember that. It's very important.
Were you surprised by the outcome of that game, 29 points?
I was shocked. I was there, and I was embarrassed.
Oh, you did go? Because I didn't get to talk to you.
I was there. It was embarrassing.
Was it But was it electric being in there? Did it feel like a playoff game?
It was an incredible atmosphere, and it just shows how elite and real KD and Kyrie are because they came there to shut up the crowd, and they did it.
Oh, they sure did. Bye, guys.